Okay, we're back with 2 Kings chapter 23, fishing off the second half. And then the people of the town told him, "It is the tomb of the man who came from Judea and predicted the very things that you have done to the altar at Bethel." Josiah replied, "Leave it alone, don't disturb his bones." So they did not burn his bones or those of the old prophet from Samaria. Then Josiah demolished all of the buildings of the pagan shrines in the towns of Samaria, just as he had done at Bethel. They had been built by the various kings of Israel and had made the Lord very angry. He executed the priests of the pagan shrines on their own altars, and he burned human bones on the altars to desecrate them. Finally, he returned to Jerusalem. Josiah celebrates Passover. King Josiah then issued this order to all the people: "You must celebrate the Passover to the Lord your God, as it is written in the book of the covenant." There had not been a Passover celebration like that since the time when the judges ruled in Israel. Throughout all the years of the kings of Israel and Judea, this Passover was celebrated to the Lord in Jerusalem during the 18th year of the king of Josiah's reign. Josiah also exterminated the mediums and psychics, the household gods, and every other kind of idol worship, both in Jerusalem and throughout the land of Judea. He did this in obedience to all the laws written in the scroll that Hilkiah the priest had found in the Lord's temple. Never before had there been a king like Josiah, who turned to the Lord with all his heart and soul and strength, obeying all the laws of Moses, and there has never been a king like him since. So even so, the Lord's anger burned against Judea because of all the great evils of King Manasseh, and he did not hold back his fierce anger from them. For the Lord had said, "I will destroy Judea just as I have destroyed Israel, and I will banish the people from all my presence and reject my chosen city of Jerusalem and the temple where my name was to be honored." The rest of the events in Josiah's reign and all his deeds are recorded in the book of the history of the kings of Judea. While Josiah was king, Pharaoh Necho, king of Egypt, went to the Euphrates River to help the king of Assyria. King Josiah marched out with his army to fight him, but King Necho killed him when they met at Megiddo. Josiah's officers took his body back in a chariot from Megiddo to Jerusalem and buried him in his own tomb. And then the people anointed his son Jehoahaz and made him the next king. Jehoahaz rules in Judea. Jehoahaz was 23 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 3 months. His mother was Hamutal, the daughter of Jeremiah from Libnah. He did what was evil in the Lord's sight, just as his ancestors had done. Pharaoh Necho put Joahaz in prison at Riblah in the land of Hamath to prevent him from ruling from Jerusalem. He also demanded that Judea pay 7,500 pounds of silver and 75 pounds of gold as tribute. Pharaoh Necho then installed Eliakim, another of Josiah's sons, to reign in place of his father. And he changed Eliakim's name to Joachim. Joahaz was taken to Egypt as a prisoner, where he died. Joachim rules in Judea. In order to get the silver and gold demanded as tribute by Pharaoh Necho, Joachim collected a tax from the people of Judea, requiring them to pay in proportion to their wealth. Joachim was 25 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 11 years. His mother was Zebediah, the daughter of Pedaiah from Rumah. He did what was evil in the Lord's sight, just as his ancestors had. 2 Kings chapter 24. During Joachim's reign, King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon invaded the land of Judea. Joachim surrounded and paid him tribute for 3 years, but then Joachim surrendered and paid him tribute for 3 years, but then rebelled. Then the Lord sent bands of Babylonian, Armenian, Moabite, and Ammonite raiders against Judea to destroy it, just as the Lord had promised through his prophets. These disasters happened to Judea according to the Lord's command. He had decided to remove Judea from his presence because of the many sins of Manasseh. He had filled Jerusalem with innocent blood, and the Lord would not forgive this. The rest of the events in Jehoiakim's reign and all his deeds are recorded in the book of the history of the kings of Judea. When Jehoiakim died, his son Jehoiachin became the next king. The king of Egypt never returned after that, for the king of Babylon occupied the entire area formerly claimed by Egypt, from the brook of Egypt to the Euphrates River. Jehoiachin rules in Judea. Jehoiachin was 18 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 3 months. His mother was Nehushta, the daughter of Elnathan from Jerusalem. Jehoiachin did what was evil in the Lord's sight, just as his father had done. During Jehoiachin's reign, the officers of King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon came up against Jerusalem and besieged it. Nebuchadnezzar himself arrived at the city during the siege. Then King Jehoiachin, along with his advisors, nobles, and officials, and the queen mother, surrendered to the Babylonians. In the 8th year of Nebuchadnezzar's reign, he took Jehoiachin prisoner. As the Lord had said beforehand, Nebuchadnezzar carried away all the treasures from the Lord's temple and the royal palace. They cut apart all the gold vessels that King Solomon of Israel had placed in the temple. King Nebuchadnezzar took 10,000 captives from Jerusalem, including all the princes and the best of the soldiers, craftsmen, smiths, so only the poorest people were left in the land. Nebuchadnezzar led King Jehoiachin away as a captive to Babylon, along with his wives and the officials, the queen mother, and all Jerusalem's elite. He also took 7,000 of the best troops and 1,000 craftsmen and smiths, all of whom were strong and fit for war. Then the king of Babylon installed Madana, Jehoiachin's uncle, as the next king, and he changed Madana's name to Zedekiah. Zedekiah. Zedekiah's rule in Judea. Zedekiah was 21 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 11 years. His mother was Hamutal, the daughter of Jeremiah from Libnah. But Zedekiah did what was evil in the Lord's sight, just as Jehoiakim had done. So the Lord, in his anger, finally banished the people of Jerusalem and Judea from his presence and sent them into exile. The fall of Jerusalem. Then Zedekiah rebelled against the king of Babylon. And we'll go into that in chapter 25 later on.